Welcome, everyone, to Morning Market Movers. It is Friday, February 18th, and we're going to do some live analysis for day trading for today and look at hot spots in the markets for today. My name is Todd Rich. I am with Nadex. With me, Brian Caprice from Keep Trading Simple. Today, really not a lot to talk about. I mean, obviously, we can talk about the sell-off yesterday. We're seeing major volatility in the equities. The Dow having the largest, having its worst day this year so far. Granted, we're 6-7 weeks into the year. Markets got clipped. What is everyone looking at? Obviously, the news on the table right now are two things. One, hostility in Eastern Europe, still monitoring the Ukraine-Russia situation. And with that, we're seeing quite a bit of volatility in oil. Oil prices took off. They're backing up a little bit. We're going to take a look at some levels in oil. Part of the reason why oil's backing up, Iran has stepped up to the plate. And hey, let's remember, they've got oil. They can put some supply out on the global market. The go live didn't work. I got to start all over again.
Oh, okay.
Here we go. Oh, maybe we did go live. Hang on a second. We're having a problem.
Technical difficulties.
Hold on. Know what? We are live.
Todd is having technical difficulties this morning. His computer is on the holiday break already.
You know what? We are doing this over over the internet on, and sometimes things don't always go as planned when you're on the internet. Well, we are back. Sorry about that. Hopefully, that all worked. I'm really kind of curious because we were on, we were off. I don't know.
Yep.
So
There you
I
are,
apologize for that. All right, so let's just step up and hope that it just picked up where we left off. We do have what's going on in the Middle East. Plus, we've got inflation, and we are going to have several Fed folks speaking this morning. They're going to be talking about different topics on the heels of what Bullard came out with last night. Again, he's out there. Let's get aggressive with these rate hikes. We've got him saying he wants to front load. You know, we know that he wants to do 50 basis points in March, and then he's calling for another 50 in June just to kickstart everything. Before I, boy, my computer is doing all sorts of crazy things this morning. Before
it's already on vacation. It's already out.
I tell you,
out the door.
We're off on Monday. Maybe we need the day. I'm going to turn my computer off to reset it. I did it yesterday. Trading does involve risk. It may not be appropriate for everyone. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. And this is an educational session. Please do not construe anything Brian or I say as a buy or sell recommendation. We are doing this for your education purposes. And as I mentioned, I'm just going to bring up, you can see how oil absolutely took off. I mean, we know we were, wow, hold on. Let's fix this chart a little bit. I mean, we know we were, if we go back, we were down at $80, a barrel, and we were freaking out about $80 a barrel. We know we got up above 96 or at 96. We've since backed off down below 90. That is Iran coming in and saying, hey, we see what's going on. We've got some. We could use some money. Here's some oil. Or at least talking about putting some oil out in the markets. So, Brian, with that, let's jump in and take a look at oil and equities, and we'll take it from there.
Sure. Yeah. That's really the only name of the game today. You guys know I typically start off with my 24-hour pip changes to see kind of what's moving. They finally, in the last 5 minutes, actually when Todd's computer crashed, the yen did finally move just a little bit, and that could be, some of the U.S. traders coming online. But almost every single currency in 24 hours was under 10 pips worth of movement. Right now, the dollar yen and the pound yen are up 18 and 17. Again, not really anything for them. That's kind of a drop in the hat. And not even 5 minutes ago, they were down at 6 or 7. So this is just a little bit of a spike now with the, basically the U.S. trader coming online right around 9 o'clock. Even if you look at overall what they've done since the close yesterday, everything. I mean, the biggest mover is the Aussie yen at 0.4%. Everything else is at the 0.1 to 0.0 something. So very, very kind of minor market. Oil is the only thing. Oil is down almost 2%, 1.96%. And as Todd mentioned, that comes back to Iran. And it's not so much Iran saying, hey, listen, we'll produce oil, because they've been saying that. But remember, there's sanctions that have kept them excluded, right? They've had some issues with the nuclear deal over there, whether they're going to produce or not. Just kind of summarize it up. The OPEC Plus sources believe the Iranian nuclear deal is close, basically saying we don't want Iran nuclearized. We don't want them to have weapons. And that's been the big deal. That's why the sanctions were there. Iran right now is currently exempt from the OPEC Plus supply deal. So they're not included right now. But if everything goes through and the deal is and the sanctions are lifted, again, it's not that they don't want to sell oil. They would love to sell oil and make that money. It would bring 1.3 million barrels online each day. So, and again, the OPEC head, obviously, they're optimistic. The OPEC heads are always optimistic. It's like, yay, we love to make money. That's obviously affecting it. That's a huge increase in supply. Remember, that every month we've seen the fluctuations go up and down with oil. And the reason why is because it's like, oh, are they going to change the 400 barrels a day thing? Are they going to change that? This would be 1.3. This is a huge bump up again. So that's a lot of supply coming in. It's not that demand is there, hasn't been the issue. That's still growing, but this is a huge increase.
Supply.
Now,
hey, wait, by the way, with oil up here, don't rule out frackers starting to drill. With oil, I mean, I don't think they're going to go gangbusters into it to fire those engines up because as soon as oil comes back down, it becomes uneconomical to go after fracking oil. But if it's up here, you'll see some folks saying, "Hey,
I think fracking is $60, and then overall general wells is like 34 or something like that, or 40. Down there is where those become profitable.
If it's going to stay above 90 or up towards 100,
we're in the range of where
it really
it's viable.
Will make a sense the supply will get there. It just the market's disrupted, and we've seen oil make crazy moves. I mean, here, trying to chase it up to 100, supply will come onto the market. But remember what we had? It wasn't all that long ago in history where oil, the futures market, traded below zero because there was so much supply that they couldn't even store it anymore, and there was no demand. So oil at zero, now oil at 100. It is an opportunity to trade.
Yeah. So I mean, we've had another, again, the blue rectangle is the European session again. We had another drop from 91.25 all the way down to 89. So again, another $2 move, over $2 move in the European session, and now it's starting to equalize. And that's what we saw yesterday. It was $2 down, $2 up, $2 down, and then we stabilized. Now we're $2 down, and we're kind of stabilizing a little bit early. It is a holiday weekend, and one thing to keep in mind too with this scenario with OPEC Plus, the big question is, if we do see further deterioration, and you can see that the most recent update is now that separatist leaders are, they're telling civilians and everything, get out, right? Residents, the pro-Russian folks that live over there that associate themselves with being Russian citizens, even though they're in Ukraine, he said, we're going to evacuate them. We're going to get them out today. Women, children, they need to leave for Russia. So the separatists, kind of the quote, the rebels in there, they are moving out. That's where we are. If Russia does decide to pursue this, everybody says sanctions are going to be extremely hard. Could they be the same exact sanctions that Iran currently has? Sure, it could be. So, is the United States, I mean, Biden has already asked the Middle East for more oil, and they said, no, we don't have the ability. We can produce a little bit more, but not, to the extent that you wanted, right? And Iran said, we'll do it, but then the sanctions had to be removed. Are we a lot more willing to be lenient with Iran now on this nuclear deal? Just so we can use this as a, hey, you know what, Russia, we don't need your oil. Go ahead, mess with us, and then we'll just put the export ban on you.
Right.
There you go. We'll swap one for the other. How do you like that? I'm sure that Putin is looking at this and saying, that's not good, right? So, because it removes a money-making, their economy, thrives on that. So there could be more motivation. That could be why the OPEC head is pretty optimistic. He's like, hey, Russia's going to mess this up. Iran, you're back in. So you're tagging in the bench player at this point. So that will affect oil back and forth. I mean, I think it's important to note that we had levels. We finally, after that big surge we saw last week, we're back down to the original mark again. We can erase that off there and get rid of that old fib. We did have an area here where we did see another push right below. It's an area that's been tested before at 88.38. We're about $1.50 from that right now, but we could have continued deterioration down if also, the more headlines we hear, it's like we're close to an Iran deal. Bam, it's another big push to the downside. So we are back in that range where we can start be looking for an oil short in here. Remember, we did get all the way up to what, 90, almost $96, 95.78, and some of the forecasts were like, hey, we're going to see 96 by the end of the year. Is this story done and over with? I don't think so. Because remember, I mean, a lot of countries now are coming out of, quote, pandemic status to endemic status. So we will see a lot more demand coming online as we go, but there will be short opportunities in here. So I think it's important to watch, see how the situation continues to unfold. Right now it's kind of just flat. And like I said, yesterday there was the immediate drop back down to the overnight lows, and then we just stayed there. I mean, it kind of capitulated back and forth a bit, but then drop and base and then drop again. So, oil is definitely a very interesting story. And again, for those of you that do really like the Harry Potter trades, there was an area here that buyers had stabilized. You can see that it did break through, and this was a target that we had been talking about before, that $90 mark. It did punch through, and it did just pull back again. So could we have a short trade from this morning? We could, but it kind of just is a little bit early, and it rolls into this 88.38, Harry Potter short that we were looking for anyway. So that's the biggest. And then again, in the kind of whole flip-flop yin and yang thing, oil's down 2%. Natural gas is up 2%.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of this is why we're looking at this kind of like a bird's eye view, and you're saying, interesting. Iran's coming back online, so it's okay if Russia goes over because we'll just get oil from Iran. But remember, Russia does more than just oil; they also do natural gas. And what is natural gas's response to the separatist leader? And it's funny that they're called the separatists because it's like the whole Star Wars thing. But the separatist leader, right, is telling the women and children to leave. And all of a sudden, it's like, woo, natural gas is like, really? You're gonna cut Russian natural gas out? Okay, that's good. 2% straight up. Right. So, yeah, very interesting scenario. And gold doing nothing. Gold is down 0.08%. So dollars doing nothing. Currencies are doing nothing. Equities right now. I know you wanted to roll into equities.
Yeah, let's take a look at
equities. Are down a little bit, but we're at zero.
Flat. Yeah, everything's absolutely flat. Oil and natural gas is where the volatility is today.
Yeah,
that is where we're seeing things move. Now, of course, we've got the Fed speakers chiming in. I know that you never know what they're going to say, but you never that could make the equity markets bounce around a bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's Waller speaking in a discussion about the Fed's new policy strategy. Maybe right. We can provide some. Waller hasn't been the most consistent person, but maybe Waller mentions, they're going to discuss the new policy. I don't know that the Fed knows what their new policy is yet, because you have one guy that says one thing and one person that says the opposite, and then the data says something completely different. And then Bernard is speaking again. She technically should be an extremely powerful person whenever she talks. I mean, she's the vice chair. She is supposedly tagged for the next leader, but it's not one of those. Again, she's considered a medium person, and she's doing a panel discussion about digital currencies. So it's definitely an interesting day for again, crypto. Yesterday, there was headlines that they are moving forward with regulation of the crypto market. I don't know if anybody's gotten their taxes or if they have a tax preparer this year. A lot of tax preparers are entering extra questionnaires this year about audits, and the audits are directly linked to cryptos. And the reason why is because a lot of those are held in foreign accounts. There's no requirements to report anything. So audits now, it looks like if you are a crypto trader and you select that box that you've had crypto, your chances of an audit are going up because the preparers are adding extra insurance if you get audited now. And again, it looks like crypto with the regulation possibilities is becoming the trigger. So again, very interesting talk. Will it affect the dollar overall? Probably. There's going to be some currency movement. It will be late in the afternoon on a holiday weekend. But remember, a digital dollar kind of hurts the whole, cryptocurrency kind of arena, but also has the ability to strengthen the dollar when all of a sudden we're taking a strong, firm stance, regulation, and, the U.S. is going fully digital, which everybody's going to be digital. That's not really a question anymore. That everybody
they've got digital products. And by the way, Brian and I will be talking more about cryptocurrencies as a trading vehicle.
Yeah.
As we get closer and closer to the acquisition of Crypto.com, closing the deal on Nadex. Hopefully that deal will close sometime soon. I mean, that's news from the end of last year, but it always takes a little while for those to complete.
Yeah,
but
and as a trading vehicle, I don't care what the price is. It could be 40,000. It could
right,
be
we're
20,000.
going to be looking at
it could be
charts.
10,000. I don't care.
Trading
as long as it's
opportunity
a
is
trading
trading
vehicle,
opportunity, right?
Yeah, it's no different than anything else out there. So, I mean, we still look at the charts the same exact way.
And then
so
how you access it and how you expose yourself to that price action, it's going to get it'll probably get a little interesting. So more to come on that. All right, we want to take a quick peek before we call it. I mean, there really wasn't a lot. We went through oil. Do we want to take a look at all on equities? Is there anything in the charts that you're seeing that you want to share before the long weekend?
This is ES currently right now. I don't know if you guys can see it or not. Yesterday we talked about that Harry Potter level. It based in it right at 930. That's exactly what we were looking for. It dropped. It gave us a pullback. And it went all the way back down, almost all the way back down to the target. It missed it by a little bit. We're kind of sitting there right now. So we are in an area where buyers have come in, but you can see we've been here before. We've been here before. We've been here before again. As the situation in the Ukraine continues to go up and down, we're kind of there. I mean, it's the next big area is going to be much, much lower, all the way down at 42.80. Will you get there today? Probably not with the speakers we see. I mean, it would take one of those geopolitical events that, hey, listen, Russia sent a tank across. That would obviously send things down. But right now, I would say that it's the sentiment is kind of out there. Where we're at, buyers have stepped into the past. It is not the first attempt. It's not the second attempt. It's actually the third attempt at this level. So for me, it's not necessarily the ideal opportunity to go long. But I do think, watching in the next probably 30 minutes to see what price does. It's already pushed down and it's pulling back a little bit. Right? If we can get any type of basing in the next 15 minutes, there could be something there. But ES looks like it's the most flat. NQ, also, again, it's at a level where we've seen buyers step in. It's got some more room to run to the downside in my eyes, but it is an area, again, where we've been down here before. The buyers have supported it. It is rallying off of that right now. Question is, again, here's the profit target from yesterday. We talked about that Harry Potter trade. I mean, I was getting this question. What's a Harry Potter look like? It looks like this. A drop, a base, a pullback from the zone that was previously violated, and it tanked all the way down. So, you can see on this is a 30-minute. You can see buyers have supported. It is also rallying right now. And the question is, what is it rallying off of? Yeah, there's buyers down here, but what is making it rally right now? Is there any U.S. data? Any U.S. headlines? No. Oh, here, Putin 1 minute ago says the West will always find pretext to impose sanctions. Well, there may be a reason for that. But yeah, so it's rallying now off of what? The U.S. trader coming online? Maybe. But I would say, if this is able to pull back up again, there's actually some more basing, most likely in this area, that I would say would be probably more set up for a short. If we can do nothing but rally straight up the way that it's looking right now, if we can rally up and we hit that 10 o'clock reversal time frame, the 10:30, right around there, if we rally from the open, that could be a shorting opportunity to close out Friday a little bit more on the downside. They're all trying right now, but again, northern, up bullish movement right before the open typically is a pretty good sign that it's going to turn in reverse. YM, the same thing, right? It's pulling back. We talked about there was a little Harry Potter here. You can see that it kind of went through, it slashed through there before. We still don't have an entry. It literally slashed down and slashed back up again. But remember, the way the market moves, impulse, correction. Is the next impulsive move going to be all the way down? And again, we have prices down here at 34,021. It came down to 88, so we missed it by about 70 on the way down. And then Russell obviously will have the greatest exposure. Russell, we also had that. We didn't really get an entry here, didn't really get an entry here, didn't really get the basic we were looking for. Well, there's the base. It just triggered, actually. So if we bring this across, you can see the Harry Potter we've been talking about a week actually is now out. It came all the way down and did a touch. Nah, it got really, really close. So, again, buyers down here, it's pulling up. Is this the correction move, or is this going to be a turn for the day? If we can pull up, I would say watch out for the 2039. That was a level we've talked about for a while, but finally got that confirmation this morning. And overall, there's not really any news that you could say is really crushing for us. All we've seen is, yes, interest rates are rising. We got to do this. Biggest things today is obviously what's going to happen with the Ukrainian situation. And then also, it is day 2 of the G20 meetings. So there will be some comments from that on a global level, could affect currencies. And then again, the currency market could pick up with a last minute boom. But for the most part, if it continues to stay flat like this, if there's no other headlines today, the most important thing that you can do is go out there and start marking your levels for Sunday night. Will something happen this weekend? Maybe, maybe not. And again, remember, it is a holiday on Monday. Currency market is open.
Currency markets will be open and everything else will be closed. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But at those levels, because if something was going to happen, this would be the weekend that it's going to happen because it is a holiday. There's less staff, everything like that. So, you know, again,
right.
they're shooting cruise missiles. We already know they're shooting cruise missiles tomorrow. So it's my mother's birthday tomorrow.
Test fire them. Yeah.
Yeah. It's my mother's birthday tomorrow, so they're going to be test firing missiles tomorrow.
Hey,
in honor of my mother.
Give her some fireworks to look at.
Yeah, if something's going to happen, it's going to be because of this. I'll tell you right now, the pucker factor at the military is going to be high tomorrow. You know, it's like, where are the missiles going? They're shooting them, but where are they going?
Yeah.
So
it'll be an interesting weekend. Now, listen, with that, any questions for Nadex, please email us, customerservice@nadex.com. If you need Brian or me, we are accessible. Feel free to email us. You know, we respond. We answer our own emails. We're here to help. Got any ideas, thoughts? We're all ears. Brian did mention it is the holiday weekend. It's President's Day weekend. We will not be on Monday. Brian are going to take Monday off. In as much as it's a shortened day at Nadex, with the FX markets open, nothing else open, but we decided we would take, you know, a day off ourselves here in the middle of winter, and we will be back on Tuesday. What did we really talk about today? It's about the volatility in the energies markets. Take a look at oil. Take a look at natural gas. There is some volatility there. The Forex markets are totally flat. The equities markets currently taking a pause after yesterday's pretty severe sell-off, and you know, everything's going to be at this point reaction to news. And we do have the Fed folks speaking. I doubt they say anything inflammatory, but you never know. They could say something that could potentially move the markets, and we might see a little bit thinner liquidity today as people step away from their screens on a Friday before a long weekend.
If you're going away for the weekend,
or
they're going early today.
I mean, I know in Chicago they're talking about setting us up to take the masks off. People are getting closer and closer.
We're off tomorrow. Today is our last day of Mass in Maryland.
So it's happening. We're seeing cases decline. We're seeing hospitalizations decline. Resources are opening up in huge parts of the country, so the hospitals aren't stacking people in the hallways anymore. So there seems to be, at the moment, a light at the end of the tunnel. Of course, that's until the next variant shows up. And let's just hope that one doesn't show up. With that, thank you so much for joining us. If you like what we're doing, please drop a like in there on YouTube. We do appreciate that, or even on Facebook. I don't even know where you're catching us. I know we're streaming it in different places. And Brian and I will catch you Tuesday morning. And until then, stay safe, enjoy the holiday weekend, and good luck.